Behind nearly every furry face in Kern County, there is this tranquilizer gun-toting wildlife woman. Meet Vicki Monroe, small in stature, but our local fierce force of nature.
For me, it started out as, more than just career aspirations. It felt like a true calling, and I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
The calling came to Vicki in her hometown, Pueblo, Colorado.
There you go.
While many students were flipping burgers after school, she was flipping something else at the local zoo.
And there was nothing that made me happier than being out in the sun, piling up camel dung, and just being out there.
She pursued her passion down under to Australia for graduate school. Monroe worked with kangaroos, koalas, and her specialty, flying foxes.
They're actually a giant fruit bat. Their wingspan is 3 feet from tip to tip. They are just extraordinary.
She came back to the States in 2008, landing a job in Northern Virginia, protecting her territory as the newest wildlife biologist.
Looking at me, they think you're a younger looking female biologist. You're, on the smaller side physically. Can you handle this? Are you going to handle this? What do you know? Who are you?
But Monroe quickly made a name for herself.
And representing wildlife management for Fairfax County is Vicki Monroe.
She became the mouthpiece for wildlife on Fairfax talk shows and a source for National Geographic Kids. In an article on red foxes, Vicki Monroe is the expert.
It takes time to build up your reputation, but hopefully I hope I project well.
And usually it's easier to lift it up and put it on the top.
Monroe wrangled the role of wildlife biologist for the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. She brought her husband, Michael Climo, along for the wild ride, moving to Bakersfield more than a year ago. And just like in nature, opposites attract. While Climo stays clean-cut at his job as assistant hotel manager of the Padre, Monroe, not so much.
Crawling through storm drains and aqueducts to follow bears, yeah. So she's always been an outdoor nature lover, and I guess I'm not more of a city person, but I'm not quite as in love with nature and getting down and dirty like that, like she is.
I'd come home, it'd be like 105 degrees that day. So I'd get home, he'd come home from the hotel, smelling good, looking very professional and spiff, and he would just look at me and he'd shake his head. It looked like a wilted, sweaty flower. It was, I find that he definitely does not envy what I do, but I found during the summer I envied occasionally what he did.
Like the animals she studies, Monroe, too, was on the move for an unprecedented year of bear sightings. Last season, she took charge, darting 11 bears between Bakersfield and Boron herself.
Our sheriffs are very dedicated law enforcement. I'd get out there, and they would be so relieved. They'd be like, oh, okay. And then they would all back up, and so I'm there with the dart gun, and then they're like, we're your lethal cover. And then they push me out front, and I'm there.
It was something different. It was like maybe grizzlies or Kodiaks, and I'll be a little bit more wary of that, but when it comes to the black bears, I think she has it under control.
And Monroe says already this year's black bear season has been anything but tame. Calls of sightings didn't stop for hibernation, and neither did the bears. The drought is making it impossible to satisfy their ferocious appetites.
I love a good challenge. Managing Kern County has been a pleasure and an immense privilege, and it's been all mine.